If the soil nitrate sample results from your cornfields indicate low levels of nitrogen, B&M Crop Consulting's Missy Bauer says now is the time to act.
We're out here this week as a follow-up to our video last week talking about nitrogen loss and all the problems we had because of the big heavy rains. So this past week we've had a fair amount of samples get sent into the lab of the nitrate samples. We talked about pulling those 1-foot samples. And so some of the numbers that came back from the lab are definitely low. So about 70% of the fields that got sent in do need additional nitrogen applied. So what does this mean to you? This should be your big red warning flag that if you're sitting there looking at a very nice looking crop like we are here and you're doing nothing, then you are going to be leaving bushels on the table. So what the most important thing to do right now is going to be to get out there and pull those nitrate tests like we showed in the video last week. You can go back and rewatch that. Get those pulled the first of the week and get them into a lab and see where your numbers are at. You know, we talked about a lot of these 10 to 13 parts per million being nowhere near enough nitrogen. Our average of all the samples that got sent in was at 16. So that means we are just really low and we need some additional nitrogen in a lot of fields. So get out there, evaluate where you're at. While you're out there, always keep in mind of, are you seeing any current deficiencies? If you're already seeing deficiency, then we know we've really got even a bigger problem. I hope that at this point, when you go out to pull your nitrates, your corn should still look pretty green yet. But if you're starting to see this nitrogen, what we call firing up from the bottom, where you see these bottom leaves, in this case, are already burned off, this leaf's all turned yellow. This will happen from the bottom of the plant and work its way up. Here's the kind of the traditional of what we see with nitrogen deficiency, that V-shaped pattern here in this leaf, where you can see that yellowing coming down kind of into this midrib here. So if you're seeing the deficiency in the plant, along again with those nitrate samples, and we know we've got really a lot to do here to try to save this crop. Hopefully right now your crop is still green like we have here, and it's just a soil issue right now that we don't have enough available nitrate out there for the plant. We can go in and get some additional on, again, either through fertigation if you have irrigation, through a Y drop system, or even with a dry spread or aerial spread with some urea and ammonium sulfate. But my biggest point is here, and why we're doing the follow-up this week, is don't leave your crop hanging. Okay, I'm not saying everybody's numbers are going to come back like our samples have here this week, but that potential is definitely out there. So you need to get a good handle on where you're at, and if you were in these areas with these big, huge rains like we were here, 6 to 12 inches of rain, you've got to be ready to react and get a plan in place to really save this crop and gain some bushels back, even though we've lost some initial nitrogen.
For more tips from B&M Crop Consulting, visit MichiganFarmNews.com or the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube.